Hello everybody, I'm Richard Gon of Work to Live podcast version, and this time, what I'm going to talk about is that Slavic war, which is, that Slavic war has been, not that Slavic war has been called, but actually, the name of that Slavic war is russo-ukrainian war, which is maybe, I think that is the official name for that war, which is taking place in the eastern regions of Ukrainian territory, and so the fighting parties the belligerents of that war are Russian Federation and Ukraine. Anyway, so which is a topic I'm going to talk about in this episode of my podcast. So anyway, so before so I frequently digress in each episode, or as always, I'm going to digress. So it's really odd. I think you have found what I have just said really odd, because so what if I know I'm going to digress in each episode. It's fine to stop myself from digressing, which is fine, which I think is what you have thought anyway. So I think you may have various kinds of ideas, but actually some of you might have thought so. And so I don't know whether you have read the title, or you are reading the title of this episode. Anyway, so the title of this episode is "Let's Follow Sri Lanka, Finish the Sanction to Finish the War," and the conclusion of this episode is to save Ukrainian people from the danger of war and death, and to bring the peace of the whole world back to us humans. It is fine to help Russia beat Ukraine. So I'm going to tell you this. So, this time the conclusion is really complicated. So the title is "Let's follow Sri Lanka and finish the sanction to finish the war," and the conclusion is to save Ukrainian people from the danger of war and death, and to bring the peace of the whole world back to us humans. It is fine to help Russia beat Ukraine. So so in the past, I have created an episode which is different from this one. But actually, so in that past episode, I have talked about that. It is fine that so it is fine that both of the hypothetical governments govern Ukraine, or Ukrainian people, or the Ukrainian territory. So the governing parties are the current or present or the incumbent Ukrainian government, and so if Russia successfully beat Ukrainian troops, for example, Russia is going to create an Ukrainian government, which I think is a new one, and that new Ukrainian government is maybe going to govern or control the entire Ukrainian territory, to create not create territory, which is what I have just pronounced. I'm sorry for my clumsy manner of English, of the use of English language. I'm a non-native speaker of English language. Anyway, so so why I used create is that so that new government it has been created by Russian government and controlled by Russian government, and so it's fine to you might you may I don't know, some of you may have some image about, or some understandings or some pictures about just the shape of Ukrainian territory, that oblong figure, having the longer diameter, so horizontally or transversally. Anyway, so please imagine that Ukrainian territory, and that might be governed by a new Ukrainian government, which may be created by Russian Federation, if Russian Federation or Russian troops successfully beat Ukrainian ones. Anyway, so which is a situation of Russo-Ukrainian war. But that is because so Russia, to start with, Russian Federation has been sanctioned by many developed countries. But under such a really a disadvantageous situation to Russia, or against Russia, Russian troops could successfully take the controls of some Ukrainian regions, and not this time anyway. So there's before. I'm recording this episode on July in 2022, on which Russia has taken almost the entire territory of Luganskaya Oblast, or Luhansk Oblast, which I think is Ukrainian word, or how do you call that region in Ukrainian language. So I'm not familiar with Ukrainian language, and so using English, that has been called Luhansk region, or Luhansk province, or Luhansk state anyway. So I don't know I don't know whether there are some exact words corresponding with oblast. Oblast can be translated, maybe oblast is, I think oblast corresponds to province in Canada, I think oblast corresponds to state in the United States of America. So but actually, some English translations use region for oblast, or Russian and Ukrainian oblast anyway. So anyway, Luganskaya Oblast is a Russian word, but actually, also I'm a Japanese person with Japanese nationality, and my mother tongue is Japanese anyway, so Japanese language, which is my mother tongue anyway. But actually, in this case, I'm going to use Luganskaya Oblast, which is Russian word, but actually, or Russian pronunciation. But actually, I have studied Russian language, which is why it's comfortable for me to use Russian language. And I don't to start with. I don't know Ukrainian language, which is why I can't pronounce Ukrainian word to start with. Anyway, so coming back to the title of, or the original track of this episode. So at first, I said let's follow Sri Lanka, which is Sri Lanka decided to buy some, I don't know, I can't get full recollections, but actually, so about this occurrence. But actually, Sri Lanka decided in that occurrence, or the occurrence I'm talking about is that Sri Lanka decided to buy some natural gas or fossil fuels from Russian Federation, which is what not Ukraine, but Sri Lanka decided. And so that is because so Sri Lanka has incurred really a severe economic situation, which is why Sri Lanka decided to buy some fossil fuels like natural gas or oils from Russian Federation. So but actually, I think this is really rational, and I think this is correct, and this action done by Sri Lanka is in favor of Ukrainian people themselves. That is because as I have told you in another episode in the past, which is related to this episode. But actually, if Russia beats that incumbent Ukrainian government, what is going to happen after the war is that Russian Federation creates another government for Ukrainian people living in that present Ukrainian territory. I'm sorry for the sound of this blaring siren. Anyway, it's possible to hear, or it's possible, but actually, this place has some close contact with such a traffic noises coming into this residence anyway. So you can, I think by not taking a look at, by listening to other episodes of my podcast, you may be able to listen to some noises of the outside siren, for example. Anyway, so coming back to the original topic of this episode, so Ukrainian government, new one is what I was talking about anyway. So maybe Russian Federation is going to build up a new government for Ukrainian people, and that incumbent was a present Ukrainian territory, and which is if that is a hypothetical situation, and the prerequisite building up or found or playing a role as a foundation of that hypothetical situation is that Russia beats Ukrainian troops. And anyway, if such a thing happens, it is Ukrainian people are fine for that new government created by Russian Federation, and that is because there will be no change in the lives of Ukrainian people or in the life standards of Ukrainian people. That is because to start with, Ukraine is not so rich country, and if Russia governs Ukrainian territory and Ukrainian people, they may grow richer by the Russian Federation controlling Ukrainian people and Ukrainian government. Such a thing may happen if Russia beats or if Russia successfully beats Ukraine. So thinking about what is necessary is to finish the war as soon as possible. So it is fine. Not it is fine. So anyway. So what I want you to think about, what I'd like you to understand is that it's fine if other countries, other developed countries, and developing countries to help Russia beat or fight against Ukraine. So the general image is that every country supports Russia, and Russia so that Russia may be able to defeat or beat Ukraine, which is what I'm saying, and which I think it might be, which I think is good for Ukrainian people, which is what I'm saying. I'm sorry for the blaring siren, but I think you can listen to what I'm talking about, and so like which, so to realize such a situation, one of what to do at first is to finish the sanction against the Russian Federation. That sanction is the current one, and so that other countries, including Russia and Ukraine, may be able to finish the war, to finish that Russo-Ukrainian war as soon as possible. So which is what I'd like you to know, or which is what I'd like you to think about. So before actually ending this episode, let me come back to the title and the conclusion of this episode. The title is, I'm going to tell you the title and the conclusion of this episode. The title is, so let's follow Sri Lanka, finish the sanction to finish the war. And the conclusion is, to save Ukrainian people from the danger of war and death, and to bring the peace of the whole world back to us humans, it is fine to help Russia beat Ukraine. And this is really good. This goes, or anyway, the situation was a situation in which Russia wins in that Russo-Ukrainian war. Such a situation, I think such a situation goes in favor of our lives, which is what I'm saying. That is because I live in Japan, and if you live in Western European developed countries, so you may be suffering from the acute or dramatical rise or dramatic rises of the prices of goods. So there is acute surges or abrupt surges of the prices of goods in my country. So I think you may be suffering from such a dramatic surges or dramatically high prices of goods. So which is what I have thought. So which is why, so if that war ends as soon as possible, that is really favorable to our lives or our life standards, which is why I created this episode. So that's it. Thank you very much for your listening. Paka paka. So by the way, I almost forgot to tell you that the destiny of President Zelensky. Anyway, you may be, or some of you may be worried about the fate or the destinies of Mr. Zelensky or the President Zelensky. If Russia beats Ukraine, so Mr. Zelensky or what he is going to become of might be a seed of worry, or might be might be really, so might really concern you, which is what I have thought. But actually, he's fine. Mr. I think, in this idea, Mr. President Zelensky is fine. That is because he had been a comedian and an actor, which is why, so if Russia governs Ukrainian territory, it is fine that, so Mr. Zelensky follows the orders of Mr. President Putin, or Mr. Vladimir Putin, yeah. So so that, Mr. Zelensky can learn things about politics, which I think is favorable, which I think goes in favor of the career of Mr. President Zelensky.